there's a lot of you on this call, and I am thrilled that you're here. I have many questions from you. I already see questions coming in on the Q&A box. So I'm just going to jump right into it. I wanted to tell all of you, I wanted to remind you that today's session is being recorded. We are recording this, and I will be putting it up on YouTube, and I will be putting it up on Facebook. If for some reason you do not want your name or your question broadcast live, you need to email me at info@newshelves.com before this session's over, just so I can pull that out. But it's not a big deal. I'm only going to be using first names when I ask the questions anyway. So let's get right to it. Frank, no last name, Frank asked me earlier this week about a plan for gathering emails. Some of you who have heard me speak or who have read some of my blogs know that lately, because of what's going on with social media, you know that I have become, once again, everything comes around again, I've become a big fan of gathering emails as a way of connecting with your readers. It's not perfect for everyone. If you are listening and you are a 16-year-old author who is writing books for your generation, a lot of you don't even have email. I totally get that. But what I'm saying is that for some of us, and especially for novelists, especially for business people, nonfiction and fiction, who are writing books of a certain type, perhaps children's books, it's not as important. But in many cases, what you will find as you're going out on Facebook and Twitter is that not a lot of your posts or your outreach is actually being seen. In some cases, less than 10% of your posts are being seen. Well, I should say less than 10% of your followers are seeing your posts. So I'm a big fan of email. I would recommend that if you do not have an email collection plan right now, you put one together. If you are an author whose books are actually appealing to readers who have email, you want to get their email addresses. And that means using a company like MailChimp or Constant Contact. I like MailChimp. And what you do is you start putting your readers and your fans' emails into lists into MailChimp. And how do you get those email lists? Well, you've got a place on your website where you can collect them. Perhaps when you're out on social media, you let people know occasionally, you don't do it too often, but you let people know that you have an email list and that you have a new book coming out. And if they would like to get an announcement so that they know when that book comes out, and give them the link to the page on your email, on your website, where they can give you their email. I run contests. I run a lot of contests over the year. I give away free content. Now, I'm a nonfiction author. It's easier for me. I will tell you frankly that if you've written a novel, free chapters, even free books, it doesn't feed the bulldog anymore. People are completely over the free book and the free chapter thing. You have to offer something a little juicier. As a nonfiction author, I can offer an hour of free consulting. If you are an author who is successfully self-published and you are successfully selling your book, if you've got any area of success in your publishing process, perhaps you can offer a free hour of consulting to readers on a particular topic, whether you're fiction or nonfiction. We're all experts in something. I have a novelist client student of mine whom I absolutely adore, and she reads tarot cards on the side. She's a tarot card reader. Now, she's a novelist, but she also reads. So what we do is we run contests where we offer free tarot card readings, and we pull a name every couple weeks, but to enter, you have to give us your email address, and that is how we start gathering lists. So that is my advice to you about the different ways and why you should start gathering emails. I will take follow-up questions, so let me see. All right. Okay, Edna has a, let me get to Edna's next question. Again, if you have any follow-up questions, you are absolutely welcome to just put them into the Q&A. I'm going to go through them one by one. Edna is asking the best way to locate a trusted specialist that could or would post a review and endorse her book. Edna, I am going to assume that you're talking of, when you say a trusted resource, I'm going to assume that you mean somebody of perhaps some note, a trusted resource for people posting reviews or endorsing, I'm assuming you don't mean my Aunt Maureen in North Hero, Vermont, who just is a big fan of books. You mean somebody of import. And the way to do that is to find them online. In the world of Google, guys, everything is great. Absolutely everything is great. You can find people's contact information. You can find out who their publicists are. A lot of them have production companies or their own companies, and you can reach out to them via their companies and asking them if they would consider giving your book their honest opinion. That is one way. But when you say, how do you find the trusted resources, you may be asking me, how do you identify them? How do I know who to ask? Well, I would start, honestly, I would start by doing a quick research of who are the top authors in your genre. Edna, if you've written a particular book on a particular topic, and I would absolutely love to know more. So if it's okay with you, Edna, I'd like to unmute you and ask you a couple of quick questions. I hope that's okay. Hold on one second. I don't know why I'm not able to. There we go. Hi, Edna. How are you?
Oh, I'm so excited to see you and to talk with you.
Well, hi. So
I,
tell me,
I
what
don't,
kind of...
I'm a mess today. I didn't know it was going to be a video.
It's not a video. I would not do that to you, honey. None of you are on video, just your voice.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me, I would never do that to you guys. Do you have any idea how long this took this morning? Sheesh. All right, so tell me, what kind of book do you have?
I have a historical fiction. It's a
All right.
novel. However, there is tons of nonfiction in it, Amy.
Well, there would be. There are, but you pick one genre when people ask you. You have written a novel, a historical fiction novel. So Edna, who are the top authors in your genre right now? Who are the big names in historical fiction?
John Grisham is one, and I guess Stephen King. I don't know. They're similar. I had traveled to the former Soviet Union in 1969 and kept a travel diary. But I was in my 20s. I'm
Yep.
75 now.
Well, but Edna, neither John Grisham nor Stephen King are historical novelists. Stephen King is a horror novelist, and John Grisham is a legal thriller novelist.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, guys, let me show you something. I'm going to share my screen. I hope you guys can see this. And do you guys all see that I'm going to Amazon.com? I hope you can. Edna, can you see Amazon there? Coming up?
Let's see. I'm going to make this a smaller screen here.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right. So, guys, this is how to find out who the big authors are, at least to start. What I want you to do is go to Amazon, look under books. Here, I'm going to show you this right now. And we're going to go by category. We're going to look at the best sellers by category. And let's see. Category best sellers. Let's go with print just to get started. And we're going to go with, you say historical fiction?
Yes, it is. It's a novel.
All right. Literature and fiction?
Yes, ma'am.
History, historical fiction. The top authors in your genre right now is Rhys Bowen, Ella Carey, Tony Hillerman, Ace Coolin, Mark Sullivan. Do you see all these books?
I do. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. But here's the thing. John Grisham and Stephen King are never good comparisons. They have, unfortunately for us, they have grown to such a degree that it's not fair to compare them with anyone. They have become uber authors. But the top authors in your genre are right here on Amazon. And I would suggest that you go Google and you find Rhys and Ella and not Tony, but Mark, and take a look at these books. Edna, your job, all of our jobs as authors, is when we are promoting our books, is we have to know who the top authors are in our genre before we do anything, because how else do we know who's reading what and where those readers are? But if you could get Rhys Ellis or one of these people to give you an endorsement, you would be in great shape. Agreed?
Oh, thank you so much, because I recognize the Tuscan book. I think it was published by Simon and Schuster, or Archway Publishing, as I was.
Yeah.
So,
So
well,
there you go.
yeah.
So that is how to start. So Edna, I'm gonna hit mute again real quick, and we're gonna move on to the next question, one of which is yours. And I'm glad you're here.
Oh, thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye. All right, let's see what other questions that we have. Nancy Reed is asking for recommendations for book reviews, especially for fiction. All right, so I would be happy to. Nancy, I don't know if you have any interest, but with your permission, I'd like to try and make you go live. If it's okay with you guys, let's see if, let me find Nancy real quick. Gosh, there's so many of you on the call. Let's see, one second. All right. Let's see. Nancy, just using your first name, is it okay if we chat for a few minutes?
Oh, sure.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well, thank you, thank you, thank you. So you're curious about book reviews for fiction, for novelists, correct?
Yes, I'm working with a fictional novelist. He's a retired attorney, and you were just speaking about legal, and so his is suspense, but it's always about a legal case. And so they're like a suspense thriller type novels. And just, so I'm in Chicago, so I was thinking about submitting it to the Great Lakes Booksellers Association. And I'm just, and of course we have the American Library Association that we can submit reviews to, and the Chicago Tribune you can submit reviews to, and the, Publishers Weekly. But I'm just thinking, do you have any just, other thoughts on?
I do. I have a ridiculously long list, which I'm very happy to share with you. How old is this book? How long has it been out?
It's not out. I'm putting a pub date of like September 26th, 27th, 28th. I'm just, right now. So I want to send it out for reviews.
Then, yes. So if September 28th, may I strongly recommend that you make the pub date October. Let me explain why.
Yeah. Okay, good.
3 months is the rule of thumb for some of these reviewers.
I know.
And so that gives you July, August, September. There's your 3 months. But if you make the pub date September 28th, you're down to 2 months.
Yeah, no,
And
I
that
know.
is so not fair.
I know. And, because September, as you know, is like the ideal month, right? It's usually like spring and then September. But October is still good too, right?
October is good, yes.
Okay.
October is fantastic. There's nothing to worry about. So what I'd like to do, guys, again, I'd like to share my screen. Let me share with you a list of what I call and what I think of. Can you guys all see something that says top book industry review venues?
Yes.
All right. Now here's the thing. Nancy, did I know you were going to ask that question? Did we have any talk before this? Because I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed that I was able to pull that up while we were talking.
Me too, man. I was hoping you'd like have a list like this.
But I have a whole bunch of resources, which I'm very happy to offer you guys. But I have a list of hundreds of places to go where to get book reviews. But I would say that the top 5, the big granddaddies, the ones that you really want to pay attention to, and you want to send those ARCs, advanced reader copies, out in the next week or so. And I would suggest that Publishers Weekly, Library Journal, Booklist, Forward, and Kirkus are the 5 that you want to not miss. You do not want to miss those, in my humble opinion. Yeah,
thank you for reminding me, because I'm familiar with all of these, so thank you so much. I just wanted to get your opinion, and this is perfect. I'm not probably going to have galleys to send to them for another couple weeks, so that might be the end of July, so that's August. So it would still be 90 days.
If you push the pub date out to October, you're fine.
Okay, good.
But you don't, and move fast. Don't get precious about your reader copies. Advanced readers copies or galleys are supposed to be messy. Guys, don't get too precious about them.
Okay.
It's better to get them out than to not have them done.
Yeah.
Also wanted to mention that let's see, this link here, these links here, which I'm happy to put And I will put these on my website today. If
Yeah.
you go to newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday, newshelves.com/FAF, you will see a post with today's date, and these links here, these links will take you directly to the submission pages for all of these, which give you the instructions, because each of them are different. If you guys see this, this is a different page. Here's how to submit to Kirkus and Forward and Library Journal, and here's how to submit to, again, to Kirkus, and Kirkus wants 2 copies. Publishers Weekly would prefer that you submit electronically. So these links that I'm giving you will take you directly to the instructions on how to submit, because everybody's different.
Right. So, and I know, like, you need to follow their instructions to the T. If you don't right away, you're out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Which is so unfair. I also have a list of about 80 more that I will include if you go to newshelves.com/FAF. Here's the first 6 or 7. New York Review of Books, LA Review of Books, Midwest Book Review, The Book Reporter, City Book Review, Compulsive Reader. So those are some of the places that I would submit, but you do not submit those until October. These are places that want to see your book after or as the book is being published. They don't want it early. Some of them refuse to look at books before the pub date.
Okay.
So again, click on these links. That's why I offer these links to people, so that they can, and I have, there's about 80 of these. Don't get overwhelmed. Just do a few at a time.
Right. And so you're going to, like you said, you're going to post all of these on your website. So that's great.
Yes. Newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday. It'll be listed under today's date. Now, guys, give me 1 second to write that down. Review lists on FAF. Because if I don't write it down, guys, it doesn't happen. I'm here to tell you that I get very distracted by bright, shiny objects.
I know. I'm writing as you speak.
Nancy, any other questions before we say goodbye?
No. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. All right.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. So we're going to move on to the next question, and let's see what we have here. Let me pull one that someone's emailed me this week. Donna says she has a few Amazon marketing services, AMS ads going on. She watched some webinars on how to do them, and things are going well, but she's unsure whether or not she should run multiple ads. I'm not an expert on AMS, but I do run my own ads, and I will tell you how I do it. I always run multiple ads. I run anywhere from 3 to 5 ads at a time, but I run some Monday through Thursday. I run others. The exact same keywords. I'll take 1,000 keywords and I'll run them Monday through Thursday. I'll take those same keywords and I'll run another campaign Thursday through Sunday. And I'll compare is it better on the weekend? Is it better weekday? I'll take a look. I will then run a second 1,000 keywords, and I'll do it for an entire week. I'll do some, but if you're going to run a half a dozen ads, I would recommend that you have different keywords in most of them, unless you're trying to A/B test the time of week. So, so that's where I would start with that. So Donna, thank you for that question. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Patricia is asking, she has seen no orders from bookstores after restarting her bookstore campaign. She's gotten 0 orders from the wholesalers. Is there anything I can do on her? Is there anything she can do on her end to spur the bookstores to purchase her book as the campaign is going on? Yes and no. Patricia, here's the thing about bookstores. Yes, there are things that you can do, but it's not about convincing the bookstores to take your book. It's about driving traffic to the stores. As you know, we can tell the bookstores about your books all day long, but what is it that's going to make it the most appealing? We can reach out to bookstores over and over again and tell them how great your book is, but maybe the next wave, maybe the updates, or when we follow up with more emails, maybe it should include a note that maybe you're willing to do a Facebook ad for any store that stocks your book. They're not expensive. They're like $5-10, for a week's worth. If a bunch of stores all agreed to stock your book, what are we as publishers or as authors, what are we willing to do to drive traffic into the store. Bookstores love to give authors a chance. They really do. Bookstores are not scary, awful places. They love people and they love authors, but they can only seriously consider books that they truly believe they're going to sell. So perhaps you and I should talk offline about, and we don't need to do it here, but perhaps we should talk about what it is we can do that will more stridently convince a bookstore that your books will actually sell. The other thing I'll tell you is that bookstores work on a budget factor, and that if mailings went out 6 weeks ago or 8 weeks ago, orders are still coming in. I own a small online bookstore. I placed orders with Baker and Taylor. I'm not making this up, guys. The first week in May, and the books are just getting to me today. With a small press, some of these wholesalers, not the print-on-demand ones, but some of these wholesalers, especially Baker and Taylor, they're having a hard time getting a hold of the print-on-demand books. It's not always the case with Ingram, but there's a number of things that can be going on. Number one, I would suggest that you seriously look at your wholesale and distribution model and make sure that it's flowing well, and I can help you with that. We'll talk offline. We can talk later today or Monday. Number two, is the text and what we're saying about your book dramatically and emphatically trying to convince the bookseller that your books will sell? Perhaps the text we chose was a little too passive. Perhaps it simply talks about the book and not enough about the demand. Those are some of the things that I would recommend we start with, and I'd be happy, absolutely happy, to take care of that, with you offline. Alan Livingston, I know last names. Sorry, Alan. You know I love you. I did not mean, I only said half your last name. Alan's asking why a competitive author would give an endorsement. Well, Alan, very few of the authors I work with or know consider themselves competing with other authors. They are comparable authors, but for the most part, the most successful authors understand that helping and being of service to the entire community helps them out. A great many authors will give an endorsement or a testimony to other authors just starting out because it boosts their credibility. Lee Child gave a wonderful ringing endorsement to one of my clients last year, and he didn't want anything for it. He felt that the book was really good. He felt that it was an endorsement he could honestly give, and it made him feel good to do so. Other authors who are doing very well, they know that if they can put their name on a couple of other books, their brand gets expanded. Their business grows. They're perceived as more successful. If somebody came to me and asked me if I would quote their book, I probably wouldn't be able to because I'm a marketer. But if someone in my industry, let's say Joel Friedlander, or Judith Briles asked me to give an endorsement or a testimony, I would read their book, and because they and I write the exact same kind of books, I would be honored to have my name on the front or back cover of their book or on their website, provided I liked the book. I would never lie about what I think. But if I could give it a ringing endorsement, can you imagine? I mean, that would be awesome. Joel Friedlander wants my name as an endorsement? Wow, yeah, because that will increase my credibility. So not all authors consider themselves competing. A number, and successful authors, they travel in packs. Daniel said something to me the other day, Daniel Hall, that I just love. He said, success is a team sport. Now, I was at the Dublin Writers Conference just last week, and yes, I'm just dropping that in there because I'm still so excited I was in Dublin. But the fact is, I learned so much there, and one of the things that I learned is that this community of Irish and Scottish and UK authors, they are so tight. They know each other, they help each other out, and that's what we should all be striving for. So I hope that answered your question, Alan. Alan also wants to know why MailChimp is my preference. I've tried Aweber, I've tried Constant Contact, and I've tried MailChimp. MailChimp is by far the easiest. They are GRDP compliant. They were before the May deadline hit, and they're not that expensive. You can get the first 2,000 names for free. I now have 20,000 names, and so I pay like 80 bucks a month for it, but it's a lot less expensive than Aweber and a lot less complicated. All right, so let's see what other questions we have. We're going to start up at the top. Let's see. Susan, you are asking us to please remind you about the best platforms to use for print and electronic, and I don't understand that question. Susan, I'm so sorry. Would you be willing to restate the question down below, type it in again, just one more time, and I'm so sorry, and tell me a little bit more about what you mean by platform. Do you mean printing platform or marketing? I'm so sorry. I apologize. Anonymous wants to know if these places that I mentioned when I was talking to Nancy before, if they review indie self-published books. Yes, they do. Publishers Weekly, Kirkus, if you go to their sites, they will all tell you that they do not publish self-published books. And I am here to tell you, I am looking you right in the camera, and I am telling you that 6 weeks ago, every single one of them reviewed a self-published book. How do I know that? Because half of them were my clients. They review self-published books all the time. They don't review books that are poorly published. If you have started a small micro press and the first book that you published is yours, and you made some pretty big mistakes, if you didn't get a professional cover design, if you didn't get a professional edit, if your ARC or your galley was not put together according to spec, if you somehow presented a book that looked amateurish, then they're not going to consider your book. But if you put together a small press, or if you published your book yourself, or if you are self-publishing with somebody's help, and you put together a killer book, a great cover, if it was beautifully edited, if your ARC has all the rules, does the back cover of the ARC include your marketing plan and your pub date, and did you do your due diligence? Did you learn what needed to be done to do it right? Your book has just as good a chance to be reviewed as anything by Hachette or HarperCollins. It happens all the time. And if you are a Publishers Weekly or a Library Journal fan and you seriously want a leg up, a better chance at getting a review, I would suggest that you consider booklife.com. Booklife, BOOKLIF as in Frank, E.com, is a website and a quarterly newsletter magazine that is put out by the same company that owns Library Journal and Publishers Weekly. And for $149, you can get a listing, a promotional listing if you were. It's not a review. It's simply a listing in their magazine. It's a quarterly magazine that is geared towards self-published and independently published books. A lot of people I know who have gotten a listing have also gotten completely independent, it's completely autonomous reviews from either Publishers Weekly or School Library Journal or Library Journal. I'm not saying they're connected, but I'll tell you this, in my experience, the people who actually invest and get a listing in BookLife, they do get bumped to the top of the list for consideration in Publishers Weekly or Library Journal. Publishers Weekly and Kirkus and these guys, they get hundreds, if not thousands of books every day to review. The chances of you getting reviewed are very small, but it's not because you're self-published. It may be because you're improperly published. Sue is asking what an ARC is. An ARC, I just want to remind you, Advanced Reader's Copy. It is usually published before and printed 3 months or so before the actual pub date of your book. It's not usually proofread. It is copy edited. It's roughly laid out. What it is it's your manuscript in its current form, laid out, bound up. You can go to any digital printer, even CreateSpace, and get one done. The back cover does not have a barcode or anything like that. The back cover of an ARC is very different. Joel Friedlander from The Book Designer has a great article. I'm gonna write this down. If you go to newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday, give me an hour after this call and go to today's date. I will have a link to an article that Joel has that I absolutely love that tells you exactly, okay, now I'm throwing stuff, that tells you exactly, oh, that was professional, how to do an ARC and what an ARC looks like. So I hope that answers your question, Sue. All right, let me, you guys have got some great questions. We got plenty of time. Let me ask one or two more. Karen is saying, how should she present a program idea to a library? A lot of you know I'm a big fan of libraries. I'm a huge booster for the libraries. And one of the things that I love about libraries is they are a fantastic, and in many cases, a better place to hold events than bookstores. There's more room, there's better hours. Libraries love to hold events. But I'm not talking about a book signing where you sit behind a card table for 2 hours and make uncomfortable eye contact with people as they hurry by. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about creating an actual speech or a workshop, something you can teach on. Maybe hosting a book club or a reading. Do some sort of event. If you've written a Western, if you've written a genre novel, maybe what you do is you put a call out to people and you tell them that you're going to be doing an event, and you would like all of the novelists or the authors in your community who have written Westerns to get in touch with you, and you can put together a group event with other authors in your area. See, Alan, you can work with other authors. And you guys can all do a reading and get people together. There's so much you can do in libraries. But how do you approach a library with a program idea? Well, I've done programs at libraries, and what I do is I think about the area, and I then think about what can be of service to the library. If I lived in LA, which is a heavily literate community, I would understand that the LA staffing needs are pretty intense. And so what I'd want to do is approach the librarian with an event that's not going to take up a lot of their time and trouble. I would like to approach the LA library with the idea that I have an event that I would like to promote. I'll do the work. I will make sure that I get people in. I would love to have it on their website. I'd like to host it at their venue. I'd love for them to talk about it to their patrons. But I will create the event. I will get the authors in, or if you're going to be teaching a class, I will put everything together. And I will, because libraries are just like anyone else. They want to drive people into their location. The more people are in the library, the better off the library is. Another way you can approach a library, if you're a nonfiction or a fiction author, is you can see what events on their website they already have and offer them something similar. Just reaching out to them and telling them that you have a few ideas. Having one idea is not a great idea. Go to them with a few ideas and see if you can work with them to come up with something. So, Karen, that was a great question. I hope I answered it properly. Anonymous is asking, doesn't Kirkus want self-published authors? Now, when you present your book to Kirkus for a review, Anonymous is right. Kirkus is going to drive you right to Kirkus Indie, also called Kirkus Discoveries, and try and charge you $450. Yes, of course they want you to do that. They want your $450. I'm going to say this over and over again. You will probably hear this every Free Advice Friday for the rest of my life. It's crap. Don't do it. Kirkus Discoveries is great. It is. There's nothing wrong with paying the $450 for a review. You'll get an honest review. It's a real review. But if the purpose of getting a review from Kirkus, if the purpose is to get bookstores and libraries to see that you have an independent, autonomous, third-party review, you will not accomplish that with Kirkus Indie or Kirkus Discoveries. Same deal. This pay-to-play review will get you an independent and honest review, but it is not an editorial review. It is not an autonomous third-party that just was spontaneously generated by their editorial department. It was paid for. The libraries know that. They know the difference in a glance between a Kirkus Discoveries review and a regular editorial Kirkus review. If you would like the review because you honestly want to know what a Kirkus editor thinks, and that's worth $450, you should do it. I love that. If you want a Kirkus review because you want to be able to put a review on Amazon or on your website or on the back of your book, also a good idea. But I would only want a Kirkus review because I would want the bookstores and libraries that I work with to know that this was an independent, that's what the wholesalers and the booksellers and the librarians are looking for. And that is not what Kirkus Discoveries delivers, I'm afraid. Thank you. All right, so Diane is asking if I have any recommendations for reviewers for a nonfiction book. Yes, yes. Diane, I don't have a list of blogs that I can just give out. I'm afraid they change so much. I do have a list of bloggers and that I use for my students and my clients that we get reviews, but I'm not kidding when I tell you I have a person who works round the clock to keep it updated, because every month or two it seems they're falling off or new ones are coming up. But I do have a list of reviewers that I will be putting on newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday. newshelves.com/FAF. It'll be up by this afternoon. It'll be a very long list, and you can click on all of them with complete and total joy. I promise. They'll all be there. Edna's asking if I can tell them how to add new keywords for a book. Now, Edna, I would love to tell you that, but I don't know where, when you say add keywords, do you mean on Amazon? If you put your book up through CreateSpace, there are 5 to 7 slots where you can put keywords in. If you put your book up through Kindle or Kindle Print, there's 5 slots where you can put your keywords in. You can also put keywords in your book description and in your author bio. Make sure that you go into authorcentral.com and you put a lot of those keywords in those fields as well. If you're not talking about Amazon, let me know. Just re-ask the question down below. Happy to help. All right, Julia's asking, what about a marketing timeline? Can you honestly tell us what marketing services actually end up following through into sales? I've done so many different efforts and people express interest, but the follow-through is expressly lacking. And she also would like full-service distribution recommendations. All right, that's a lot. So let me give you the short answer. A marketing timeline is actually available for free. I offer them for free, a checklist with a timeline on my website. If you go to www.newshelves.com/store, S-T-O-R-E, yes, you will see things there you can buy. Don't buy anything. Just arrow down until you see a marketing timeline. It's free. You can download the thing yourself, and it gives you a full list of what I think works. But I'm going to give you a verbal answer, what I think works right here. Reviews work. Reviews work. Amazon reviews, blogger reviews, newspaper reviews, professional third-party book industry reviews, not the ones you pay for. Word of mouth. Verso Digital, V-E-R-S-O, Verso Digital put out a study somewhat recently. It was 5 months ago now, but it was a very large study and it still holds true. Verso Digital put out a study that showed that 82% of the people who bought a book, a new book, in the previous month did so after getting it recommended to them. It was based on a recommendation. Recommendations don't have to be your mother leaning over the kitchen table, taking your hand and saying, honey, you need to read this book. A recommendation can simply be a blogger that you follow or an author that you love who mentions on Facebook or drops an email into your inbox saying, hey, I read this great book and I think I should tell you guys about it. So you want recommendations, you want reviews. It is the number one thing to focus on. I am not, in some cases I will often say to people, well, it depends. This does not depend. Julia, I'm looking you right in the camera and I'm telling you, reviews, 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 recommendations. If you do not have, you need to have over 100 Amazon reviews. You need to be working towards that. And don't ask your friends. Guys, your friends, it's not their job to write a review of your book. It's our job as authors and publishers to go find our readers. Go find your readers. I was telling you how to find other authors. Well, once you find the other authors that are like you, I want you to go online. We're in a golden age on the internet. Go online and find out who their readers are. You know how to find their readers? Because they're commenting on your fellow authors' blogs. They're talking about books on Goodreads and on Amazon. They're in discussion groups. They're out there. They're asking questions. They're answering questions. Go find these readers and get to know them. Don't go blustering into some author's Facebook page and start peppering their page with offers for a free review copy of your book. That's rude. Any more than you'd go blundering into someone's living room and ask them if you can borrow $1. That's not what you do. But you know, a Facebook page is a little like an open house. You're invited. So go hang out in the author's Facebook page. comment, get to know people, spend a little bit of time. I wish there was a faster and easier way to do this. There is, but it's extremely expensive. You can hire a high-powered publicist just to plow this through, but that costs 20, 30 grand. If you don't have 20, 30 grand, but you do have 20 or 30 minutes. Do you have 20 or 30 grand, or do you have 20 or 30 minutes a day? Because at 20 minutes a day, you could be hanging out either online or in writers' communities and finding where the readers are. It's not cool to ask your friends or fellow authors to write reviews for a number of reasons. Number one, they won't do it. How many of you, I wish you could all raise your hands. How many of you have heard from your friends that they loved your book and they're going to write a review, and then the review never happens? Of course it doesn't, for a number of reasons. People who aren't writers, they get intimidated by writing reviews, and maybe they don't even know how. They forget. They get busy. They didn't really like your book. They just told you that because, you know, they ran into you at the supermarket and they didn't know what else to say. The other thing is maybe they did write a review, but because you guys are friends on Facebook and Twitter, and that Amazon pulled the review because they figured that they were personal friends. Amazon doesn't like that. You need to go after the reviewers on your own. Full service distribution recommendations, Julia. I absolutely love NBN and PGW. Independent Publishers Group. I would avoid Small Press United. Any full-service distribution company that uses print on demand, you don't need them. You don't need to give them the 30%. You can use print on demand yourself. But if you've printed books and you have them in a warehouse, full-service distribution, my favorite is NBN. There are fulfillment houses that offer full-service warehousing, customer service, and billing and shipping. Pathways in New Hampshire, Itasca out in the Midwest, ITASKA, Pathway, PATHWA, yes. Those are two, they're not full service distributions, but they're great options if you want to do the sales and have them do everything else. Brenda saying, oh, Brenda, look, here's your question. I was just about to get to it. Brenda's asking, when pitching to a library, this is so great, when pitching to a library, does the book absolutely need to have this year's pub date? It does not. So I'm going to read what Brenda had written. She said, Amy, here's my question. Do I absolutely need to republish a book with this year's date? See, Brenda's got a book with a 2014 or a 2015 pub date. And she heard me say, I'm sure somewhere, that bookstores and wholesalers don't like to consider books, in many cases won't consider a book that's older than 2 years old. And that is true. If you want to get into Baker & Taylor, Brodart, or your local bookstore, they're pretty much, you better have a darn good, compelling reason for them to consider your book if it's older than 2 years. They do not like considering books older than that. Because there's so many other books coming down the pike, why should they consider an older book? They have to draw the line somewhere, guys. I know it's not fair, but that's the way it is. You know, it's also not fair that blondes have more fun, but that's the way it is. You either go blonde or shut up about it. And it's the same thing. Bookstores and wholesalers, it's a rule they have. There's nothing I can do about it. But libraries are different. Libraries will take an older book, a book that is 4 or 5 years old. I wouldn't go much older than that. That's about as far as you want to go. But Brenda, your book is only 3 years old. Books are only 3 years old. You're in great shape. So what I would recommend at this point is that you don't relaunch your book. You just sell into libraries. If you're print on demand, which I believe you are from what I remember, you're print on demand. If you're print on demand, you're in Ingram, which means you're in great shape and you're fine. I am seeing out of the corner of my eye that some of you guys are writing a bunch of questions in the chat box. Guys, the chat, I can't see those questions. Those are for you guys to chat with each other. I need you to put your questions in the Q&A box. So please put the chat box is simply to make comments. The questions are not coming in there. Well, they are, but they're not really being. Please throw them in the Q&A box. We still have 12 minutes to go. I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. I want to assure you guys that I am doing this every Friday. If for some reason I don't get to your question, and I'm going to try, but if I don't get to your question this week, they will be the very first questions that I answer next week. They will be number 1. So Brenda, I hope that answered your question. Relaunching, if you guys do decide that you want to republish your book under a new ISBN and you want to keep all of your Amazon reviews, I'm going to ask you to keep this in mind. Publishing a book under a new ISBN gives Amazon a chance to promote you and to promote your book as new. And there's a lot of logarithms and little computer things going on behind the scenes on Amazon that you might want your book to look fresh and new. If you ask them to link the old edition and the new edition, you will get to keep your reviews, but you will lose Amazon's glitter and sparkle of it being a new book. So you need to weigh that. 24 reviews is not a lot of reviews. Now, I'm a little concerned, Brenda, that it took you 3 or 4 years to get 24 reviews. I want you guys to hear me. You need hundreds of reviews by the time your book is 3 or 4 years old. You should be out there every day, looking for people to review your book. You should be asking bloggers every day. That's what bloggers do. They review books for a living. There are thousands of them out there, and you should be, and they cross-post on Amazon. So losing 24 5-star reviews for a new edition, you know, not good, bad, it's up to you. You have to weigh that. But if you want to keep your reviews, you simply go to authorcentral.com, tell the customer service person in an email your 2 ISBNs, and ask them to link them. They'll take care of it. It'll be easy. All right, Brenda, I hope that answered your question. Suzette is asking, what are the chances of getting a review if your book is 6 to 12 months old? It depends on the venue. Some bloggers only like new books. Some magazines will only review a book if it's in the first 90 days. So I'm saying that you've probably lost 50 to 60% of the potential reviewers if your book is a year old. Yeah, easily 60%. But that still leaves 40% of the reviewers that you should be talking to. And you know what their rules are because they all state them right on their website. Suzette, you know I love you. You need to get out there and you know, 3 a day. You need to be out there and just asking 3 people a day to review your book. It's important, and your book is so good. It would be good. Stuart is asking how important it is to have a sales kit for bookstores ready 6 months in advance of book release, and is it a hard and fast rule? Oh, thank you, Stuart. I love that question. No. It is not important 6 months in advance, and it is not a hard and fast rule. If your book was published by HarperCollins, Random House, Hachette, St. Martin's, then yes, your book would be in a catalog 6 months in advance, and bookstores would be sitting at their desk across from a sales rep, and they'd be flipping through the catalog, and the sales rep would be saying, okay, well, this one you need 3 of, and that one you need 2 of, and they'd be going through them together. Your book and your marketing plan and about the author and your web page. Ideally, if I was your big sister and you had to do everything I said, 90 days before the pub date of your book. I would have everything ready to go 3 months before the pub date of your book so that you can send the books out to reviewers, bloggers, and when they click on your website or when they look at the PDF of your marketing plan or of your sales kit, it looks professional. But 6 months, those days are long over, long over. 90 days, it's important. If you want to present your book to the publishing industry as a professionally published book and you want to follow the same guidelines that other people are following, then that's what I would recommend. For those of you whose book came out a month ago and you don't even have a sales kit yet, cool. Then this is what you do. You create a 1-page sheet about your book. I will put a sample up on the Free Advice Friday. For those of you who are asking how long these things are going to stay up, I'm going to leave them up until, I don't know, a couple of years. I mean, I don't know. I can't promise that if I don't get hit by a bus, they'll still be up. That's my promise to you. If I'm breathing, they'll stay up. So, but I'm going to put a sales sheet and a sales kit example, a couple of them, up on newshelves.com/FAF. I will do that so you can see some samples. Thank you. For those of you, we've got 2 people here who are asking about working with me directly. I do coaching, And you are very welcome to reach out to me. You know, for those of you who email me, you know it takes me a few days to get back to you, but I do eventually do it. I do coaching, and I do offer classes. So if you just email me at info@newshelves.com, I promise I will get back to you, and we can set up a time to chat. All right, so Julia, I answered, let's see. Yes, Julia, I answered that. Thank you. Oh, Julia, thank you for that very kind thing about my book. Guys, The Right Way is coming out with a new edition, a second edition this November, and I'm here to tell you I'm going to start taking my own advice. When the new edition comes out, I'm going to start asking for Amazon reviews. If you look, I'm embarrassed to admit, don't look, but if you look on Amazon.com, you'll see that I only have about 20 reviews, and that's because the cobbler's children has no shoes. I am afraid I'm not very good at keeping up on taking my own advice. All right, Susan is asking which distribution model to make books available for print and which for ebooks. Now I understand, Susan. Thank you. Let me tell you guys some of my favorite ways to make print books, ebooks, and audio books. There's a lot of great companies out there. Don't write any of these down. I'm about to just list some. These are not my favorites, but I like them. I like Smashwords. I like Ingram Spark. I like CreateSpace. I like KDP Print. I like Draft to Digital. For audio, I love ACX, but I'm also a big fan of Draft to Digital and, oh my gosh, begins with an F. Let me look that up real quick. Their sister company. Findaway.com. Ooh, that got scary there for a second. This is why we don't do this live, remember? But my favorite ways to make books, ebooks, and audiobooks available are this. I would put my print book up in hardcover and paperback on Ingram Spark. I put the ebook up for 90 days exclusively on KDP Select. KDP.com is the venue that allows your ebook to be made available to Amazon and Kindle customers. KDP Select is a program that KDP offers that if you agree to give them for 90 days exclusivity to your ebook, they give you a lot of great marketing help, and it's worth it. After the 90 days, I put my ebooks up on KDP, but not exclusive, and I put, for the rest of the venues, I put them up on Draft to Digital. I'm going to type that into the chat box because it's kind of a weird email. Draft, the numeral 2, digital.com. Terrific company. They will make your book available to Apple, you know, the iBooks. Kobo, which is the second largest ebook venue in the world. They're international. They're great. Overdrive. You want Overdrive. That's how you get ebooks into libraries. And then with audiobooks, I love findaway.com. The reason why I prefer findaway.com as opposed to acx.com, which is owned by Amazon, is Findaway allows you to get your audiobook done pretty inexpensively and up into all the venues, and they do not ask for exclusivity. ACX does. Now, ACX doesn't always demand exclusivity, but they ask for it in such an aggressive way that often you feel you don't have a choice. All right. So, Susan, I hope that answers your question. Ingram Spark, I put the paperback and the hardcover up. You can even get pre-orders if you want. Then I put the ebook up on KDP. I do choose KDP Select for 90 days. When the 90 days is up, I put the rest of my ebooks up on Draft to Digital and audiobook on Findaway. And when all that's done, when my pub date is done, I then circle back around and I put the exact same paperback file up on CreateSpace. Or you can use KDP Print. It's the same company, guys. It's the same company with two different names. But that's the order. Ingram Spark, KDP, Draft to Digital, circle around, and then do CreateSpace or KDP Print, same company. All right, Susan, I hope that answers your question. Anonymous is asking about the other company after Pathways. It's called Itasca. Itasca is I-T-A-S-K-A. Yes, Itasca. That's it. Great company. You can find the free marketing plan here. Let me put that website in the chat box at newshelves.com/store. And when I get off with you guys, we got 3 more minutes. When I get off with you guys, I will head over to the store and just make sure it's there. But it was there last time I looked, but I promise it will be in the next few minutes. Julie is asking about, and you know what, Julie, I don't know. You're going to have to go to, and I'm not a distribution expert, I'm afraid, but I would recommend that you go to NBN and that you take a look at their website and see what they have. Rebecca's asking about Publish. Publish is terrific for distribution and marketing, but there's so much more than that. Which Susan was asking about full service, or Julia was asking about full service distributors. That's probably a little, that's different than print on demand distribution. Publish is, Kathy and Publish are it's probably easily my second favorite company in the industry after my own. I love them. I would recommend them heartily if print on demand is what you're looking for. Oh, Minute, good to see you. How are you? It's wonderful to see you. Alan, I'm not going to answer that, but you and I should talk. Yikes. All right, I think we're getting to the end of the hour, and I think we're getting to the end of the questions. Let's see. Joy is saying she's not submitted to Amazon, but she sees instructions on Amazon to submit to KDP, and now you're hearing me. Kindle and KDP are the same thing, I promise. So that is how, so it's the same thing. When I say Kindle and KDP, it's the same company. All right, guys, it is the top of the hour, and it looks like I've got a few questions from Alan, Christina, Joy. I'm so sorry, but guys, I'm going to get to these questions first thing next week. I'm going to put these resources that I promised on the website right now. So give me an hour or two, but by 3 o'clock Eastern, everything will be up that I mentioned. We will meet back here. If you signed up for this session, you're signed up for all the sessions. Sorry about that. You know, feel free to move my emails to, you know, don't call me spam. Google gets mad at that. But you can opt out of the emails. But I will go through the chat box and I'll go through the question box. I will pull those questions out and they'll be the first things I answer next week. Thank you so much. Alan, you are too funny. Don't make me laugh on camera. We will talk to you guys later. And I will be here a week from today, Free Advice Friday, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you so much all. Bye-bye.